The old Thompson house stood like a decaying sentinel at the end of Maple Street, its weathered facade hiding secrets darker than anyone in the quiet suburban neighborhood could imagine. Mr. Thompson, a widower of 15 years, was known to the community as a reclusive but harmless elderly man who rarely ventured beyond his overgrown garden. What the neighbors didn't know was that the creaking attic above their heads held a collection that would turn their stomachs and chill their bones. Up there, in the dust-filled space where shadow and light played cruel games through cobwebbed windows, stood his precious girls, mannequins, dozens of them, each positioned with meticulous care, dressed in clothing that had once belonged to the teenage girls of the neighborhood. Some outfits were complete ensembles, others just fragments, a bra here, panties there, each item carrying its own story, its own memory. Mr. Thompson had given them all names. Sarah wore the yellow sundress he'd taken from the Hopkins clothesline last summer. Rachel donned the workout clothes he'd stolen from the gym bag left momentarily unattended at the park. The sweat still lingered on the fabric when he'd brought it home, and he'd loved that, the authenticity of it. But his favorite was Emily. She stood in the center of his macabre collection, wearing the exact outfit that 16-year-old Emily Martinez had on the day she disappeared 3 months ago. Faded blue jeans, a white crop top, and those distinctive red sneakers everyone remembered from the missing persons report. The police had searched everywhere, but they never thought to look in the attic of the kindly old widower. Why would they? He was just poor Mr. Thompson, still grieving his wife, keeping to himself. They didn't know how he'd watched Emily for weeks, learning her schedule, her habits. They didn't know how he'd followed her that evening as she took her usual shortcut through the alley behind the convenience store. The mannequin wearing Emily's clothes still carried her scent, a mixture of teenage perfume and fear-induced sweat that he found intoxicating. He'd preserved it carefully, using techniques he'd perfected over the years, the same techniques he'd used on all his girls. Detective Sarah Reeves had knocked on his door twice during the investigation. She'd been thorough, professional, but ultimately clueless. Mr. Thompson had served her tea in his living room, expressing appropriate concern for the missing girl, while above their heads, Emily's clothes adorned his favorite mannequin. The case remained open but was growing cold. The community had moved on, as communities do. Missing person posters faded in shop windows, replaced by newer tragedies, newer concerns. But in Mr. Thompson's attic, Emily remained forever 16, her presence preserved in fabric and plastic, joining his growing collection of stolen moments and borrowed lives. Sometimes, late at night, he would climb the creaking stairs to his sanctuary. He would walk among his girls, adjusting a sleeve here, straightening a collar there. He would whisper their names, tell them stories, remember how each piece of clothing came into his possession. The thrill of the hunt, the excitement of the capture, the satisfaction of the perfect display. And now, as winter approached and the nights grew longer, Mr. Thompson found himself watching new girls in the neighborhood. Katie, who jogged past his house every morning in her tight athletic wear. Jessica, who waited for the school bus in her pleated skirt and cardigan. So many possibilities, so many potential additions to his collection. The mannequins watched silently as he planned, their blank faces reflecting nothing, revealing nothing. In the attic of the old Thompson house, where dust motes danced in thin beams of light, his collection waited to grow. And Mr. Thompson, patient as always, knew that soon enough, another outfit would join his display. Another name would be added to his whispered roll call. After all, he had plenty of room in his attic, plenty of space for more girls, more stories, more secrets. And in this quiet neighborhood, where people trusted too easily and forgot too quickly, no one would ever think to look behind the kind eyes of the grieving widower for the monster that lived within. The case of Emily Martinez would remain unsolved, just another tragic mystery in a world full of them. And Mr. Thompson would continue his careful, quiet collection, safe in the knowledge that his greatest masterpiece would never be discovered. In his attic among his girls, he had created a perfect world, a world where beauty never faded, youth never died, and he reigned supreme as the curator of stolen innocence.